Hi, I'm Mustafa from TDS. In this video, I'll show you how to connect external data to a model in Navisworks Manage. We'll combine an RVM file from E3D with an Excel file of custom item properties using DataTools, then publish the result as an NWD file that has properties embedded and can be used in any Navisworks product. Here we have our RVM file opened in Navisworks Manage. As I move through the model, you can see some of the items that have been brought in from E3D. For now, when we select any of these objects and look at the Properties panel, we only see two panes available, the Item pane and the Material pane. These show the basic information that comes directly with the RVM file, but nothing more. Now I'll show you some of the objects where we'll later add extra properties. For example, we can look at some of the pipes in the system as well as pieces of equipment. At this stage, their properties remain very limited. Now let's take a look at the Excel data we'll be working with. In this file, we have two worksheets, one for pumps and one for pipes. The key column in both sheets is the first column, labeled Item Path. This is what we'll use to reference items back in the model. Each worksheet then has its own set of properties. For example, in the pumps sheet we see details like manufacturer, model number, serial number, and installation date. In the pipes sheet, we have properties such as pipe type, installation date, fluid, and so on. Each row after the header represents one item, with its path and associated properties. These rows are what will eventually link directly to the corresponding objects in the Navisworks model. Now that we've reviewed the model and the Excel data, let's begin setting up the connection. First, open the DataTools window. Here we can see a list of existing links, some of which are available by default. To create our own connection, we click on New. This creates a new link, and we'll name it Pumps Connector. Under the connection frame, we then select the database connector type, in this case, Microsoft Excel Driver. Next, we click Setup, which opens the Excel Setup window. From here, we select the latest database version, and then choose Select Workbook. We navigate to the directory where our Excel file is stored, select the workbook, and confirm with OK. This takes us back to the main setup screen with our new connection ready to use. With our workbook connected, the next step is to write the SQL query. This query is what links the items in our model to the corresponding rows in the Excel file. As I start typing, the first part refers to the worksheet name, here it's Pumps $. This tells Navisworks which sheet inside the workbook we want to read from. Next, we point to the column called Item Path. This is the column in the Excel file that matches our components. Then, on the Navisworks side, we specify the Item Property pane, and within it, the Name property. This is the value Navisworks will use to link back to the item path in Excel. The rest of the query follows a standard structure, so the main pieces you'll adjust are the worksheet name, the column in Excel, and the property you want to match in Navisworks. For now, we'll add the manufacturer field to bring into the model. Once we click OK, we can immediately see the manufacturer information appear in the properties of the items we've connected from the worksheet. Next, we'll add more fields from the Excel file into our connection. To do this, we open up the DataTools window again, select our Pumps connector, and click Edit. Before we start adding fields, let's also update the name of the property pane from Pumps connector to Pumps Data. This makes it clearer when we view the properties later in Navisworks. Now we'll add a few different types of fields to represent the different data types. We'll add flow rate, model number, and installation date to cover some of the different types we have in our data. Remember, the field name corresponds to the column name in the Excel file, while the display name is how that field will appear in the Properties panel inside Navisworks. Once we've added the fields and updated the pane name, we click OK. Back in the model, we can now see that the properties for the items have been updated with the fields we just connected. Now let's repeat the process for another sheet in the same Excel file. This time, we'll create a new link and call it Pipes Data. Just like before, we connect the workbook, making sure it points to the same Excel file. Once the workbook is selected, we move on to the SQL query. The structure is exactly the same as the SQL query we used earlier, except now the worksheet name is Pipes instead of Pumps. Remember to always include the $sign after the name of the sheet in the query you are building. Everything else remains unchanged. Next, we'll add some fields from this sheet. For example, we'll include pipe type, installation date, fluid, NPS, which stands for nominal pipe size, and material. Notice with the last one, the field name is material, since that's how it appears in the Excel file. However, I've chosen to give it a different display name so that it shows up differently in the Properties panel. Once we finish adding these fields and confirm the setup, Navisworks will display these new properties under the Pipes data pane for the corresponding items in the model. Next, let's see how changes in the Excel file are reflected back in Navisworks. We'll open the original workbook that our connectors are linked to, and go into the Pipes sheet. Here, let's update a couple of values. For example, we'll change the entries for NPS and material in these rows. After making the edits, we save the Excel file and close it. Now, when we return to Navisworks and select one of the connected items in the model, we can see that the updated values are already reflected in the Properties panel. This confirms that the link is active, and any changes made in the Excel sheet will flow directly into the model's properties. Since the links have been set up, we can now go ahead and publish the model. First, we quickly check in DataTools to make sure both connectors are turned on. Once that's confirmed, we go to the Publish option. In the Publish dialog, we enter a title and fill in any other details we want. The important step here is to select the checkbox for Embed Database Properties. This takes the properties from the connectors and embeds them directly into the published NWD file. Now, let's open the same NWD file in Navisworks Freedom. Once the model loads, let's take a look at the same items we've been working with. For the pipes, we can see that all of the latest properties from Excel are present, including details like type, fluid, and nominal pipe size. The same goes for the pumps, where the properties we connected earlier are also available. This confirms that the embedded data carries over into the NWD file and can be accessed even in Navisworks Freedom, making it easy for others to use the model. Thanks for watching this instructional video. If you found it helpful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with others who may benefit.